Okay, today we're going to talk about systemic racism. Should be a lot of fun.
This is Jamal. Jamal is a boy who lives in a poor neighborhood.
Wow, they really called him Jamal.
He has a friend named Kevin who lives in a wealthy neighborhood. All of Jamal's neighbors are African American, and all of Kevin's neighbors are white.
You mean Kevin's neighbors are European American?
Because Jamal's school district is mostly funded by property taxes, his school is not very well funded. His classrooms are overcrowded, his teachers are underpaid, and he doesn't have access to high-quality tutors or extracurricular activities. Kevin's school district is also funded by property taxes, so his school is very well funded. His classrooms are never crowded, his teachers are very well paid, and he has access to high-quality tutors and lots of extracurricular activities.
The whole basis for this video is 100% flawed. Okay, this is where it's flawed. There's plenty of white people that are absolutely poor as shit, and they live in the ghetto along with these black people. And it's not systemic racism because it doesn't just affect black people. If it affects black people solely, I would agree with you. But it affects white people too. It affects all poor people. All poor people have poor schooling. All poor people live in the ghetto. All poor people live by liquor stores. All poor people live by pawn shops. Okay, this isn't just black people. You're being racist to assume that all black people are poor and that all poor people are black. That is racist. And there's plenty of black people that live in nice homes and they have nice schooling. Plenty. Look, you can't tell me that all black people are poor and they all are born with this systemic racism disadvantage, because that's bullshit. Because Oprah Winfrey's worth $4 billion. That would have happened if she was born with a disadvantage where she couldn't make it because she's black. You know, if I were to name off every single black person that's rich, it would take me a fucking week, dude. There's NFL players, basketball players, there's celebrities, there's like actors, there's actresses, there's just talk show hosts. There's so many different black people that have made it. To say that there's systemic racism holding them down, that's just a load of horse shit. That's just something that you made up. Systemic racism does not exist.
Kevin and Jamal live only a few streets away from each other. So how come they're growing up in such different worlds with such different opportunities for success? The answer has to do with America's history of systemic racism.
Okay, under capitalism, you're paid the amount of money for the amount of work that you do. Okay, the more work that you do, the more jobs that you create, the more money you get. Okay, they're saying that everything should be the same. All payments should be the same for everybody, no matter who works harder or less hard. So they want a doctor to get paid as much as a burger flipper. They want that to be about even. And that's just some bullshit, dude. Basically, they're saying that capitalism is racist. That's basically what they're saying. They're saying since there's hierarchy and then some people are worth more than others, that's just inherently racist because it creates poor, and all poor people are black, which isn't fucking true. Not all poor people are black. There's a lot of white people that are poor, and there's a lot of fucking black people that are rich. So their theory doesn't make sense. Their whole idea of capitalism being racism doesn't make any fucking sense. But yeah, when someone says systemic racism, what they're really saying is capitalism is racism. Fuck that. Don't fall for that bullshit. That's bullshit, dude.
To understand it better, let's look at what life was like for Kevin and Jamal's grandparents. Decades after the Civil War, many government agencies started to draw maps dividing cities into sections that were either desirable or undesirable for investment. This practice was called redlining, and it usually blocked off entire black neighborhoods from access to private and public investment.
But here's what they don't tell you. It affected white people too, so it's not a racist thing.
Banks and insurance companies used these maps for decades to deny black people loans and other services based purely on race. Historically speaking,
no, not race, based purely on the fact that you lived in those areas, and it had to do with income. It had nothing to do with race. You made that part up, like you make everything up. Here's the deal. Facts and logic aren't on your side. So what's on your side is emotions. So that's why you got to call everything racist and sexist and say guns are racist, say capitalism is racist, say all these things are racist, so people will just get on your side without thinking. Because if they start thinking, then they'll become right-wingers. So you got to just do the emotional arguments and just pull at people's heartstrings, because that's all you got. Facts are not on your side, not even a little bit. So that's why it's emotional arguments all day with you. Emotional arguments that don't make sense. Emotional arguments that are fucking ridiculous. Like, this is racist, that's sexist, that's homophobic, that's blah, blah, blah. It's all you got.
Even as late as the 1980s, an investigation into the Atlanta real estate market showed that banks were more willing to lend to low-income white families than to middle or upper-income African-American families. As a result, today, for every $100 of wealth held by a white family, black families have $5.04.
It's interesting that this isn't sourced in the description. I mean, it was sourced, but New York Times took down the article. I wonder why. Maybe because it was fake news and it had no grounds in reality. You're all like, no, bro, systemic racism still exists despite everything that you proved. Okay, what about this little fact? Leftists control every big institute in America today. They control big tech. They control mainstream media. They control Hollywood. They control administrative government. They control every aspect of America. So what does this mean? Well, it means systemic racism doesn't exist. And if it did exist, it's the left-wingers' fault. But I'm telling you, it just doesn't exist at all. It's just something that left-wingers say to get people to rally behind them. Because they're emotional arguments that get people behind them. I mean, them actually giving reasons why capitalism doesn't work, well, they can't, because capitalism works. So they got to use emotional arguments like, it's racist, and bullshit like that. It's sexist, it's homophobic, and make up shit to get people behind them, because that's all they could do. They're all about those emotional arguments, because the facts aren't on their side. So here it is, guys. Another great video that no one's going to see. Just remember to hit the bell button for notifications so you know when I upload a new video. That helps the views, and that means a lot to me. Also hit the like button and leave a comment. That helps too. Helps the algorithm. Thank you guys for everything. I'll catch you on the next one.